This is something that was really scared of me. So we're on the Valuetainment show like a month and a half ago or whatever, right? We did the live show. And I asked the girls, I went around the panel. And one thing, this is why I start to phrase the question. I say, what do you think the average body count is of the average 25-year-old girl that maybe went to college? It was shocking, the answers that I got.
30, 40?
Some girls said 20, some girls said 30, some girls said 80, some girls said 50.
Whoa.
The answers were all over the place. But if I'm going to go ahead, and it was like 20 plus girls. So what I'll say is this. The average, I'll say, is somewhere between 20 to 30. So
sorry, what?
Yeah, 20, 30. Yeah, dude. And that's the women that said that.
At age 24.
At 25.
Hang on, if they're admitting to that, then it's 70, bro.
Yeah,
You go
that's the scary part. That's the scary part. So they're saying that they think the average girl has somewhere between 20 to 30, and that's me just averaging all the answers. So my thing is, if you take the average guy that's 25 years old, he ain't gonna have 20 to 30 bodies. He's probably gonna have maybe 2 or 3. So my thing is, I'll look at it like, if your girl's more sexually experienced than you put yourself in a bad spot. But a lot of guys will go ahead and commit to the first girl that kisses them, and it's like, damn, this is dangerous.
Can I say something here?
At least in America.
Okay, what if that entire framework with which to approach relationships, the Western approach, is completely broken, in which men and women suffer, and it is Western liberal degenerate hedonistic waste of time? What if there's a superior way to approach relationships, and that is the green pill, that is through an Islamic halal relationship in which the man has certain duties, the woman has certain duties. Both parties understand that their sex intimacy is a sacred thing. It shouldn't be spread all over the world. What if the entire framework of the Western world in terms of relationship is completely polluted and broken? You can reject that. I know men who have. And you can choose a halal approach to relationships through taking the green pill. You can have relationships in the Islamic context, which are a lot healthier, both physically, energetically, mentally, in every sense.
I think you're right in practice, but I've seen a lot of young Muslim guys get married and then immediately they start simping for their wife, even in the marriage. Even though it's in a halal way, you could still, they get indoctrinated by their phones. And so if you get married too young without becoming established, I think that you're going to be able to get caught into that simping nature.
And that is a risk. And I don't really have the answer for that, because I see a lot of Muslim men.
Incel them. Be an incel until you're 35. Ignore women, ignore the distractions. If you have to once in a while, you can whatever. But just ignore relationships until you become extremely established, until you know exactly what you deserve and what you should demand for. Ignore women until you get to that point where you're not. Because if you get married ultra young when you're like 22, 23, naturally you're going to want to give everything to this girl because you haven't been able to experience life yet.
And also the value's out of whack. She's young and beautiful. You're a man who hasn't made it yet. Whereas when, and this is what I've noticed, people who get married real young, the imprint stays the same. She can get, in 10 years' time, fat and grumpy, and you can be a multi-millionaire. She will still think she's the prize, because the imprint when you got married earlier was she was the prize. So it is a tricky one.
She's holding on to that frame.
And I do feel empathy for the young Muslim men especially, who are strong in their deen and are staying a virgin until they're married and they get married early, but the woman they're marrying has still been infected by Western degeneracy.
That's the worst.
They've still been infected by all this simp culture that we see in the West. It's a very challenging thing. I think any relationships in the West, or pretty much anywhere in the world, it's a confused time for relationships between men and women. That's why Tate's gotten so popular. He speaks directly to the fact that most relationships are a mess, that it's all been messed up.
And